And we think that it's important to focus on research, where we've been, and it evolves where we're going. And traditionally, there has not been much research done in the area of peer support, but we're starting to see that change. And these results we get really excited about because it proves exactly what Dr. Brower was talking about earlier, that really good, effective teams, they make a difference in organizations. Research has shown that it decreases stigma, it improves hopefulness, greater life satisfaction, engagement, decreased hospitalization, better social functioning. These things are all what we're looking for in peer support programs because as the clinician shortage comes, we need force multipliers in the agency that can step in as professionals to also start facilitating some of these changes. We're not going to just be able to rely on clinical care in the future if there's going to be that big of a shortage. So we need our team members to be really well trained to intervene. So some of this data came from some pretty big surveys, including nearly 8,000 officers from the FOP and 7,000 firefighters from IAFF. And they noted that 90% of people who utilized peer support found it helpful. And 75% prefer peer support over all other support service options, which may raise some eyebrows for you. But that's why we get so excited. Now, I will tell you that it takes a really good trained team, people that can engage in a way that builds trust, builds confidentiality, to get to that level where people are so willing to come to you. And it's important too to note the barriers that kept people from getting help here, because this is where we need to fill the gap here. Some of the major barriers that were listed that prevented people from getting help, the first one is cultural stigma. This idea that personnel should be strong and not seek help. Coupled with the next barrier, which is a fear of reprisal or retribution. About 80% of personnel in these surveys said that they were worried about being seen as weak or unfit for duty, and 75% worried about putting their job at risk if they ask for help. Now, we need to change that organizationally and make it more available or more acceptable to step forward and get help. And the third major barrier was that even though we offer EAP services with a very giving heart, trying our very best to try to fill in resources, create resources for agencies, about 60% of personnel that were surveyed said that they found EAP to be unhelpful. And this isn't because we shouldn't offer EAPs, it's because first responders have very difficult and very difficult jobs that require specialized care. And so we should be seeking clinicians and clinical care and other outside resources that recognize that are culturally competent, and that are resources that people are actually going to use. Because these stats, we already recognize this is what we want to create in organizations. So they are going to be important going forward in recognizing not just the barriers, but how we can overcome this, how we can bolster our peer support teams to become more effective helpers in your organizations.